Nick is 24 years old and a police officer, though even criminals don't take him seriously because he looks too young. That turns out to work in his favor when his younger brother, Matt, is accused of murdering a teacher. To figure out what really happened at the school, Nick goes undercover there, posing as a student. The problem is that his search for the real killer keeps getting derailed by a school bully, an overly affectionate straight A student, and a beautiful teacher with whom Nick wouldn't mind starting a romance himself. From the vantage point of the mid-2020s, it's hard to fully grasp the context in which Plainclothes appeared. Today it feels as if comedies about police officers going undercover in schools have always existed, but that's a deceptive impression. This trend didn't take its familiar, fully formed shape right away. It emerged through trial and error, missteps, and growing pains. And Plainclothes is one of the important steps along that path. The usual point of reference is the TV series 21 Jump Street, which premiered in 1987 and turned Johnny Depp into a bona fide star. Modern viewers think they know this show because they've seen its big screen remake, but that's not quite true. The original series and its film adaptation, released a quarter century later, mark, in a sense, the beginning and the end of the trend's transformation, over the course of which a detective dramedy morphed into near pure parody. Plainclothes was the first conscious attempt to apply the cop in a school formula to a feature film, and the names behind it are impressive. The screenplay was written by Scott Frank, who would later become one of Hollywood's most respected script doctors, a two-time Oscar nominee, and the creator of Netflix's hit The Queen's Gambit. The film was directed by Martha Coolidge, who by that point had already made the cult youth comedies Valley Girl and Real Genius. Inspired by the success of 21 Jump Street, the two tried to fuse two very different genres, a high school comedy and a police detective story, but ultimately missed their potential audience. The overly serious and convoluted investigation alienated younger viewers, while teenage passions and an excess of humor kept tripping up the crime plot so badly that it never quite straightened out. Adult audiences, in turn, refused to accept the film as a proper detective story. Frank and Coolidge honestly tried to find common ground between these distant genres, but in the end, Plainclothes works best in the moments when its creators abandon realism and simply cut loose, generating absurd situations and genuinely funny jokes. In that mode, the script is very strong. Frank skillfully handles situational comedy, and his dialogue sparkles with wit. It was precisely this approach, leaning fully into all-out, almost parodic absurdity, that later turned the thematically similar Hong Kong comedy Fight Back to School, starring Stephen Chow, into a hit. And it's the same principle that guided the creators of the already mentioned 21 Jump Street movies. As the saying goes, if you can't beat stupidity, lead it. At the box office, Plainclothes flopped, and critics didn't understand or accept it either. The film was truly appreciated only many years later, when audiences had something to compare it to and could finally see how ambitious a task its creators had set for themselves. A special point of interest is the casting of Arliss Howard in the lead role, a then 33-year-old, little-known character actor who is incredibly charming and precise here, but utterly unconvincing as a 24-year-old, let alone a high school student. His acting style is restrained, yet dense and expressive irony, and from the very first minutes of Plainclothes, it's clear that we're watching a major talent who simply, like his character in the film, has found himself in the wrong place. But again, like his character, he passes this trial with dignity.